There's been 3 semi-finals, and the winner of one of them, of course, Lewis Manley. Lewis, we've seen you win a semi-final. That's obviously going to put you into the final itself because the point score now you've got. How are you feeling about it going into this final of the British Rental Car Championship 2014?
Definitely very nervous, of course, because I think all 10 would be very nervous because they all want to win, of course. But definitely semi-final race, and the kart was just brilliantly fast all the way, and a little bit of pressure behind, but I still got away okay, and good stop in the pits, and excellent pace all the way through.
Good stuff, Lewis. Obviously, it was quite a tight battle there with Anwar Brule-Smith. He was looking for lots of ways through, but he couldn't find one in the end. Obviously, this has given you a lot of points towards the final. Just before going into the final, any thoughts, any sort of strategy you might employ?
Probably just do the same if I'm at the front again, just do the same strategy, and when someone comes in behind me, I just have to respond immediately. Definitely probably the 2 guys to watch out for has to be Bradley Philpott and Ed White, because they are so phenomenally quick, and obviously fantastic battle in the first race of the semi-finals when Ed just got out in front of Brad in the pits, and it was very tight all the way through, and nothing between them.
Superb. Well, good luck, Lewis. We wish you well, and have fun in the final. Okay. Finals time. Surely you're in it now on points. How does it feel?
Good. Yeah. I've been trying to keep up with everyone else all over the weekend. Struggling in the first heat, but went on better every race.
Superb. You've done really good, Ted. And have you a strategy for the final?
I'm going to focus on qualifying. It's really important to pick a good kart. Yeah. So try. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. And so obviously, will your strategy be the same wherever you qualify, or might there be some difference in where you pit if you qualify up the front or near the tail?
Well, obviously on the front, you have to pit late, otherwise you might get stuck in traffic. Yes. Trying to keep up with the guys who are running in front at the moment. So.
Superb, Ted. Thank you very much, and we wish you well for the final. Good luck. Ed, you won a semi-final here at BRKC 2014. Ed, we've seen some blistering pace from you this weekend. Obviously, you're going to need to keep that up in the final.
Yeah, definitely. Got to make sure I do well in the qualifying and get a good kart for the final.
Absolutely. You had a great race in that semi-final. You narrowly beat Brad Philpott. Yeah, that's not many people end up beating Brad Philpott. That was a really good run there. Do you feel that gives you momentum for the final? Does it give you confidence for the final?
Yeah, it definitely boosts my confidence for the final because you know, Brad and Lewis are my main competitors in the final. They're both really quick. You know.
Absolutely. It's been a good weekend for you all round, I think, Ed. You're feeling it's been a good one overall, no matter what happens now.
Yeah, I've had a great weekend. You know, it's been fantastic. Both the days have gone really well for me, and yeah, it's gone well.
Superb, Ed. Well, we wish you well for the final, and darn good luck.
Thank you.
Have fun. Okay, so Michael Weddle kicks off the running here. It's Michael Weddle who's going to be the first one out to qualify. Let's see what kind of time he sets. Got one practice lap, or warm-up lap, should I say, and then it's full on to the qualifier. There's Michael Weddle. He's in the Snell section of the course now. Heading to the far side. He's the one who's going to set the first time. How's it going to be? Will the track have cooled off? Will the karts have cooled off? And it's going to be important to hang on to nerves here. He knows all eyes on him. He's coming around the final turn now. He's going to start his qualifying lap. So Michael Weddle opens the qualifying for the BRKC final now. So there's Michael Weddle. He's around the Snell section. He's looking pretty neat and tidy. Michael Weddle is possibly one of the neatest drivers we've seen here. He's very good coming onto the top section there, heading towards the long back stretch there. Going to need to carry that speed all the way down into the hairpin. There's Michael Weddle negotiating the hairpin. See if he's got a nice smooth start. Very little work on the wheel as he comes round into the final turn, past the pits, and that concludes Michael. Michael opens up the timing on 34.2. We'll see how that pans out as the following drivers head on out. It's different running on your own to running in the pack, so we'll see what his time is like. So Michael Weddle, he was the 10th place qualifier, and he opens up the timing on 34.2. Next up is going to be Annalene Boutons. Annalene Boutons will be next up for the qualifying. Well, he doesn't look very happy about that, but it's not only how he's done, but how the remaining drivers are going to do. So Michael Weddle into the pits after that opening qualifying effort. nets him a 34.2. He does the decent thing of stopping in the stop box. Good boy. Okay, so Michael Weddle will vacate the cart, so that's his effort. In the cart gets Annalene Boutens. She's got quite a lot of weight to add to that to bring it up to the 90 kilos. We're going to get her in the cart and ready as soon as possible. Just getting the cart very adjustable, these Sodi carts, with just the pedals and the seat position in a Sodi cart. That's not only important for fitting in the cart for the driver, but the driver position in the cart actually affects how the cart handles. As we see Annalene Boutens on her warm-up lap, the cart is very much affected by the seat and pedal position of the driver. And Annalene Boutens, she of course is the reigning ladies world champion. She won that particular honour in Denmark last year at the World Championships. So another driver with a very smooth style, racing out of Holland. She's come over especially for this one with brother Ruben, and they're quite a pairing out on the track, these two. Anyway, Annalene Boutens is on her qualifier now. She's got to beat that 34.2 of Michael Weddle. So looking very neat indeed. Again, another very neat driver, very much driving with the European style, a leaning out in the corner style. There's Annalene Boutens. Down the backstretch she comes. Very neat into the hairpin, very neat indeed in the hairpin. Very smooth style there, very little work on the wheel. You can see on the TV pictures there. Round two to take the finish. What's her time going to be? Annalene Boutens goes on the provisional pole. She's 33.7. That's half a second up to Michael Weddle. So Annalene Boutens pops herself pole position provisionally. And taking a fairly slow cool down lap. It's Annalene Boutens half a second up on Michael Weddle. Next up we're going to have Anwar Barul Smith. And Anwar Barul Smith will be showing us what he can do. Annalene Boutens just taking a bit of a slow run down the backstretch there to check the timing, see what her time is. I'm sure she'll be pleased with that one. And into the pits now. So Annalene Boutens comes rolling into the pits, brings the cart to a stop. Okay, next up it's going to be Anwar Barul Smith. Anwar Barul Smith, a very competitive driver. We've seen him in various sorts of carts, competitive in any kind of cart that you care to put him into. He's jumping on board now. He doesn't need any weight at all. He's just adjusting the seat. As I was saying, the Sodi cart's fully adjustable, you can see that. And Anwar Barul Smith takes the track to start his pace lap there. And those who've been joining us now on the live feed, you can see on the TV screen Anwar Barul Smith is out on the track. He's starting his pace lap. All the drivers are using the same cart, as you probably figured out from looking at this. That really equates the performance there. No one can say they got a better cart or a worse cart. And Anwar Barul Smith is now about to start his lap. Another smooth, consistent driver. So Anwar Barul Smith begins his flying lap now. So on the flying lap now, Anwar Barul Smith looking good into the snail section. Anwar Barul Smith, who of course last year had a particularly spectacular year in terms of results. He was the Formula 6 Pro Car O-Plate champion, the Formula 6 champion overall, winning all 7 rounds. He was the Club 100 heavyweight champion, and out of 43 race events he started in, he managed 36 podiums. So an incredible performance last year from Anwar Barul Smith, and he's looking good on this one. Another very smooth driver. He's coming up to finish his lap, and what's it going to be? Anwar Barul Smith cracks it in, and he goes second fastest. He's 0.15 seconds off Annalene Boutens, so Anwar Barul Smith second on the grid. So far we've had 3 drivers. Annalene Boutens currently still on the provisional pole position. Anwar Barul Smith in second, 0.15 a second behind Annalene Boutens, and Michael Weddle still in third, 0.49 seconds behind Annalene Boutens. Anwar Barul Smith should be pleased with that, because it was a very quick lap by Annalene, and I'm sure Anwar and Annalene are both going to be up there, even if someone else was to take the pole. Okay, next up we've got Crispin Zerka. Crispin Zerka, he's been showing up well. No one's really known him before this weekend, but Crispin Zerka, one of the local experts. His experience of the track has served him well to begin with, but now when we get to this level of the competition, everybody's just as good as everybody else on the track. The skill needed to race at the top at this level of British Rental Car Championship means that you're going to have to be very good at adapting and learning tracks. So everyone else has learned the tracks very well, and so no longer does the likes of Crispin Zerka and Lewis Manley, to name a few, no longer does their track experience give them an advantage. Really very much in the level playing field now in terms of experience. Okay, so Crispin Zerka, he is on his pace lap. Here he comes at the end of the long straight. You can see him turning in. Got a flick into the corner there on the camera, and closer back there on the inside. All just tapping the wall there, Crispin Zerka. But luckily, he's not on the flying. Second place will serve him well, and he moves around on the track there. He's going to be bringing in at the end of this one. Okay, next up we've got Russell Endine. Russell Endine, of course, the reigning BRKC heavyweight champion from when there was a heavyweight division. Obviously everyone's running the same weight this year, so there's no need for a heavyweight division. But it has to be said that Russell Endine, a very formidable competitor. We've seen Russell perform, I would say, punching above his weight, but actually punching below his weight in a sense, because with the BRKC last year running the overall title at a 70 kilo weight limit, Russell was also competing in the heavyweight division, which means he was weighted up to 90 kilos. He was still challenging those and finishing ahead of those in the overall standings who were running 20 kilos lighter. So a very, very fierce competitor in Russell Endine. We've seen him win 2 of the heat races he was in. He's really, really shown well this weekend. Russell Endine. Here he comes on his pace lap. So Russell Endine is going to be shooting at Annalene Bouton's 33.7. It's still Annalene Bouton's on the provisional pole. We'll see if Russell Endine has anything to say about that. He's starting his flying lap right now. Russell Endine on his flying lap. And he comes into the snail section, a very tricky part of the track. This one, very technical there. Very important, more than anything, not to lose time. Kind of area on the track where you're not going to make anything, but there is scope to lose an awful lot. So Russell Endine now on the fast sweeping left onto the back stretch, and we can see on the live feed there, Russell Endine down the back straight. Russell Endine on his qualifying lap. He's almost near the end, another smooth driver. He runs out a little bit wider than the others perhaps, but he's going to complete that lap and we'll see where it shakes out. Oh, and we've lost the timing on this section, so we don't really know what Russell Endine's done at the moment, but I'm sure we'll get that feedback very soon. Okay, so Russell Endine, he has concluded his qualifying lap, and he's going to hand over next to Brad Philpott. Brad Philpott, of course, the championship organiser, and how Brad is going to fare in his own championship is going to be a very interesting thing here. He has made it to the final. He did win a race, and he's also been getting results all weekend. He's another driver, highly competitive in anything. He's been racing with Peugeot in the last year in the Nürburgring 24 hours and performing very well indeed as a factory Peugeot driver in cars. Karting really though is where we know Brad best from, and he won that shootout to be one of the Peugeot factory drivers. Brad Philpott is going to be the next one up, and this is exactly Brad's forte, a short, sharp burst of action. If anybody can take the pole position, it's potentially Brad Philpott there. He's getting ready. They're waving him off, are they, for his qualifying lap? He's all set and ready. He's weighted up. He's just looking for confirmation it's time to go. So we'll be looking for Brad Philpott to take to the track next. There he is at the end of the pit lane there. Just having to hold up a moment. He's waving at the camera there for you guys on the live feed. So we're looking down at Brad Philpott. You can see the Peugeot badge on his helmet. He is currently a factory driver with Peugeot in endurance racing out in Europe. And Brad Philpott takes the track now for his pace lap. Okay. So Brad Philpott on the warm-up lap now. A driver of great smoothness. There's really no gaps in Brad's game at all. He's got what it takes to take the pole position, but will he do it is the question. I guess Annalene is still on the provisional pole. And Annalene Boutons is still on the provisional pole with her 33.7 if I remember right. Brad Philpott's got to shoot for that now, so Brad Philpott across the line. He's going to start his qualifying lap now. Brad Philpott in the snail section once again. It's an area where there's plenty of time to be lost, but not a lot to be made up. Brad Philpott exiting the snail section now, around the long sweeping left and down the back stretch he's going to be going. So through the long sweeping left, onto the back stretch. It's Brad Philpott carrying as much speed as he can down the back straight. Turning in real nice and smooth, and a very nice neat line there, and we can see minimal action on the wheel there from Brad Philpott, just keeping it nice and smooth but carrying speed. And Brad Philpott comes through to finish his lap. 33.7, 33.9. He's 2/10 of a second off the pace of what he needed to be to take pole position. I believe it's still Annalene Boutons who's on the pole with 33.7. Okay, so Brad Philpott, 0.2 of a second off. It's still Annalene Bouton, the reigning ladies world champion, who's on pole position for the British Rental Car Championship final. Brad Philpott probably will be a little bit disappointed that he himself is not on pole, and it would be nice to be on the pole position for the grand final of your own event, of course. Brad Philpott pulls back into the pit, so he has concluded his efforts there. Ruben Bouton looks like he's going to be next up, but there was a timing glitch apparently with Russell Endine's lap, and they're putting Russell Endine back in the kart. Russell Endine is going to make a qualifying run again because of a glitch in the system. Meant that his lap time was not scored. So, having seen Brad Philpott, 33.9, 33.7 is the pole position time. Russell Endine, we've spoken about Russell Endine already, about how he's the reigning heavyweight champion, and he made it to the semi-finals of the World Championships last year in Denmark. Russell Endine, he's coming down the back straight now. He's going to have to put all that World Championship skill to use now because he's got a second shot at pole after the timing glitch earlier on. And here's Russell Endine starting his qualifying lap now. So Russell Endine across the line to begin qualifying. Russell Endine entering that snail section of the track now. He's looking very fast and very smooth indeed. Very close to the wall there, using all the road. And now onto the fast left before the long backstretch. Looking to gain speed onto the backstretch there. Here comes Russell Endine. He's turning into the hairpin, quite sliding into the hairpin there compared to Brad Philpott. And another smooth driver, probably works the kart a little bit more than some of the others, such as Annalene Boutons and Brad Philpott. Russell Endine concludes the lap. Oh, 33.9. He's just behind Brad Philpott, but still nobody can tackle Annalene Boutons' time of 33.7. That's what it takes to get on pole position in the British Rental Car Championship 2014. Russell Endine there, he's going to put himself up to the order on the qualifying, but not on the pole position. He's behind Brad Philpott. He's had a quick look at the timing. He's probably relatively unsure where that's going to leave him overall. So Russell Endine coming back into the pits after his qualifying effort. Next up, we're looking at the brother of the pole position holder. Annalene Boutons, as I said, still on the pole position, but now comes brother Ruben. Ruben Boutons has been a karter at world level for a number of years now. Very strong contender, always a challenger for the final in the World Championships. Very strong competitor from Holland, and he's going out to see what he can do. The only thing on his mind now is going to be to bump his sister off the pole position there. Needless to say, if they're running first and second in the final, it could lead to a fairly quiet drive back to Holland, isn't it? It's an awful long way to be going and nobody talking in the car. So we'll see what Ruben Boutons can do about his sister's pole position time. Ruben Boutons, we can expect a very, very smooth lap in this one, and it's going to be difficult to see where the speed is made and lost. Expect a very smooth run from Ruben, and he starts his lap now. So Ruben Boutons starting his lap now. Coming around into the Snell section. Vital to be smooth here. He kind of slides it in, so there's me saying he's going to be smooth, but he's drifted in a little bit more than most on this one. So really getting the kart working there is Ruben Boutons, and hopefully looking for a quick exit from that to get onto the fast left and onto the back straight where he is now. Ruben Boutons turning in very nice and smooth, but quite slippery. Getting towards the final bend. Look at this, very, very smooth, leaning outwards in the typical European style. And he takes the flag, and where is he? He's on pole with a 33.9, just pips Brad Philpott. No, he's not on pole because he's 0.2 of a second slower than sister Annalene Boutons. Annalene Boutons, she was only the second driver out, and she's had to sit there and watch as everyone else goes out shooting at her pole position time. Nobody's beaten it yet. Ruben Boutons a mere 0.02 ahead of a second ahead of Brad Philpott. What an outstanding run there. And Russell Endine is only 0.06 behind Ruben Boutons, and this is showing just how tight things are at the top. Ruben Boutons comes back into the pits. He'll be a little bit disappointed not to have beaten his sister's time there. We'll see where he ends up overall in the on the grid lineup. So Ruben Boutons exits the kart. Next up, we've got Ted Monfils. We saw Ted Monfils win the final heat race, and so he's a very fast driver, as we know. So Ted Monfils, he's actually third in the overall points that got him into the final here. We've only got two drivers remaining after Ted. So Ted Monfils, and then it'll be Ed White, and the final qualifier will indeed be Lewis Manley. So Ted Monfils heading straight out onto the track now. He was interviewed earlier. For those on the live feed, they've probably seen him talking already on the TV screen. So Ted Monfils is on his pace lap. Ted put in a great performance in that last heat race, bagging a whole ton of points. He's been strong all weekend, and obviously looking to be strong on this qualifying lap as well. Can anybody beat Annalene Boutons' time? Ted Monfils is one of those who really is most likely, you say really anyone in this top 10 in the final is likely to, but Ted Monfils begins his challenge now. Ted Monfils on his qualifying lap for the grand final of the British Rental Kart Championship of 2014. Will he be the one to beat Annalene Boutons' pole position time? We're going to find out in a second. He's keeping it tight, he's keeping it fast, he's looking very good. He's onto the backstretch now. Here he comes down the backstretch. We can see on the live feed, that's Ted Monfils turning in very, very smooth indeed. Oh, and he cuts a nice short line across to the long left-hander. Inside line is vital in indoor karting, more so than outdoor karting. Much tighter game, and he crosses the line, and what is his time? No, Ted Monfils, it wasn't fast at all. He is, well, it's very fast, but nowhere near where he needs to be. He's half a second off Annalene Boutons' time, 34.2. 34.2 for Ted Monfils, so he's half a second away from Annalene Boutons. It's still looking good for Annalene Boutons. There's only two more drivers remaining, so whatever happens, Annalene is going to be third. She's probably up there worrying about who was going to beat her, but she's still in the provisional pole. At worst, she's going to be third. Now we've got two of the fastest drivers we've seen all weekend going to be shooting for pole on this one, and the camera zooms in on Ted Monfils there. He comes back into the pits. He's probably going to be a little bit disappointed with that one. It's not really what we not as good as what we've seen from him so far, but anyway, Ted Monfils, that was his qualifying attempt there. Next up, it's Ed White. Ed White has been ballistically quick all weekend, and we've seen him explode out the blocks in the qualifying, so expect a storming effort from Ed White here. Ed White has done a lot of winning this weekend. Needless to say, he won his semi-final, and that was the one where he had to beat Brad Philpott to do it, so that was quite an effort. Ed White actually overtook Brad Philpott in the race, so it's quite a robust one, so he's not only a fast driver, he's a pretty fierce competitor too. So Ed White getting close now to completing his warming up lap. Ed White now starting the flying lap there across the line. That's Ed White. So Ed White is on his qualifying lap now. If anyone's going to dislodge Annalene Boutons, you would think it might be Ed White, although we do have Lewis Manley to go. But Ed White surely has to be favourite now, with 2 drivers remaining, to knock Annalene Boutons off the top. Ed White is very rapid around onto the backstretch. There he is, coming on towards you on the screen now. So turning in, aggressive turning from Ed White. We see much more aggressive driving from Ed White than we do from some of the others. He's working that wheel through the long right-hander, flicking it into the final turn. And how is his time going to shake out? Ed White moves to second, 33.9. Great, Annalene Boutons still on the provisional pole. But look at these times. We've got Ruben Boutons, 33.9. Only 0.01 of a second behind him is Ed White. 0.02 of a second behind Ruben Boutons. Therefore, 0.01 behind Ed White in third is Brad Philpott. And Russ Lending, 0.06 of a second behind Ruben Boutons. And they're all 0.2 of a second up Annalene Boutons. So you can see how close it is. And if anyone doubts that 0.01 of a second is not very much time indeed, try counting it, is what I would say. So Ed White, his qualifying effort, very fast indeed, but not enough to knock Annalene Boutons off the pole position. Annalene Boutons was the second driver out to qualify, and she's still on that provisional pole position. There is only one more driver remaining, and that, of course, is Lewis Manley. Lewis Manley, one of the local experts here. He's in the running to win the track championship here at Formula Fast in Milton Keynes. Formula Fast, Milton Keynes, been an excellent host so far for the British Rental Kart Championship, and surely it's going to be an epic final. Thanks to the team here, they've really done a grand job. There's no way of denying this has been one of the best BRKC events we've had in all 4 years the competition's been running. Very, very well run, and superb kit and a great facility all round. Okay, so one of the local drivers, he's in the local championship here at Formula Fast. He's the only one remaining who can knock Annalene Boutons off the pole position. So, Lewis Manley, he's won races this weekend. He's a very formidable competitor, the top scorer this weekend. It's all down to him to take the pole position if anyone's going to. Lewis Manley, he's taken a wide run there. He's obviously given it a bit of a slow run, and now he's about to start his qualifying lap. He begins that qualifying lap now. Around he goes, around the sweeping right-hander into the snail section of the course. Manages to keep up good speed there. He's looking good. He's running up against the wall and back to the inside, looking for the shortest way round. He still stays short on the way round, all the way onto the backstretch, down the bottom end there now. He's really carrying a lot of speed. He turns in nice and sharp. Another short run through the long right-hander. He's running out a little bit, not as tight as Annalene Boutons, but will that beat her time, or will he fall in behind the Dutch lady? Lewis Manley, 33.9. My goodness, that is incredible lap time. But it's not good enough to take the pole position. It's Annalene Boutons will be starting the final of the British Rental Kart Championship on the pole position there. So Annalene Boutons, the Dutch girl, third. Sorry, not third. She was the ladies' world champion last year. So she's carrying that form through to this year as well, with strong showing in this event on the pole position now for the final of the British Rental Kart Championship. Lewis Manley is now going to bring that kart in, and we're going to get the drivers sorted out in the correct grid order. They're going to make their kart draw, and then we'll get them round on the backstretch, I think, for the setting up of the actual grid itself. It's going to be a single file start, just as we've seen in the other races. So qualifying concluded, and in 2 halves basically, because of the timing glitch, but we do know that Annalene Boutons is the one on form. She's the driver on form, taking pole position. We'll be soon finding who's second and third. So very strong performance. That's Michael Weddle there. And Lewis Manley looks like he's just taking the weight check to make sure he's legit. Yeah, he's legit, and we can see a lot of the drivers out of uniform there. In the maroon was Alex Van Gien. Seen some performances there. Annalene Boutons with the balaclava on, just getting ready. She's going to be taking the pole position. Anwar Barul-Smith in the black suit there, just gone out of view with the marshal in front of him. So Annalene Boutons in the centre there. She's the one on form at the moment in the pole position. Dutch lady. Brad, multi-purpose here. You're not only the organiser of the event here, but you're also running in the races and doing pretty well. First of all, that last race we saw you in, very, very tight indeed. Can you tell us something about it?
Yeah, qualifying was obviously very tight, and it's great we can see what lap times everyone's done, so you know that we were very, very close. So I knew there wasn't going to be much of a problem sticking with the front three, but getting past them would obviously be difficult. Yeah. So I thought, not being right at the front, it would be quite important to get some clear air, so I made a really early pit stop, and then basically tried to get as many fast laps in as possible on my own and try and jump the guys in front. And it nearly worked. It worked a little bit, but my engine stalled in the second stop in the pits.
Yes, we saw that, and it got going.
Which, it lost maybe a second and a half, 2 seconds, which then caused a knock-on effect, having to overtake people who I shouldn't maybe have had to overtake later. So,
but it led to quite a tight battle. Didn't it?
It was very strategic, very, very good. And then, I had to defend, which lost me enough time for Ruben to come through right from the back and take seconds.
It was
very exciting.
Oh, it was very good to watch and commentate on as well. Going to the championship now, British Rental Kart Championship, now in its 4th season. Drivers are moving from this into World Championships. You know, the winner goes to the championships every year, and we're seeing a different format in this one now, much more in line with the European national championships and obviously the World Championship itself.
Yeah, the format change I think has been really good. Yeah. I've certainly enjoyed watching the races and being in them, and it, like you say, it does bring it in line with KWC. It gives people a bit more of an idea what to expect at the World Championship, and I think it actually really works as a format. It is more fair, great for spectators, and I just think it's the way forward from now on.
That's right, and we've seen very, very close racing throughout the championship this year. The fact is that only one person has won 2 races. Apart from that, and that's Russell Ending, who was heavyweight champion last year.
Precisely, it's incredibly close in terms. Lap times are close, points are close, and the racing is always close to watch.
Annalene Boutons, although she is in pole position, she has actually drawn that kart 17. So Annalene Boutons, thumbs up. So Annalene, again, she's just adjusting the seat there, again, not to suit her sitting position, but actually to figure out how the kart's going to handle. The kart does handle a bit different compared to where the driver is placed. Ted Monfils there, and now we're looking at Michael Weddle. Michael Weddle, he was the first one out to qualify, if you remember. And then Russell Endine, who we've talked about quite a lot. He had to take 2 runs because of a timing glitch. Here's Ruben Boutons. His sister's on pole position, and he's going to be a challenger in this race, always is. Anwar Barul-Smith, obviously been speaking about him quite a bit. And then we're moving backwards. Christian Zerka, that's it, Christian Zerka. I believe he's going to start in the 2nd place. And then behind him, waving away, that'll be Ed White. Ed White. Ed White has put in a sterling performance all weekend, and none of these drivers you can rule out for the win, but you'd have to say that at this level tend to cancel each other out on pure speed. Everybody at this level is absolutely rapid as can be. Proper mix actually of the different disciplines. We've seen different karts driving styles, particularly from the Europeans and world drivers who tend to lean out a lot more in the corner. That gives the kart a little bit more ease of grip, of being able to stick to the inside, because it breaks the grip of that inside wheel, which of course with the locked solid rear axle of the kart, there's no differential in a racing kart, so that means that the kart tends to want to push straight on, gives a little bit of understeer, especially if you lean into the corner. You put a bit more grip on the inside and it makes the kart understeer a little bit more. Okay, so they're taking what counts a bit of a half warm-up lap, and a fair bit of weaving going on as the driver's just trying to get something into the tyres. So Annalene Boutons moves to the front of the straight there. So they're in the 17 carters. Annalene Boutons, she's taking up the pole position. We'll be bringing forward Crispin Zerka, I believe, to take up second place. Crispin Zerka, now he's the one moving forward, as you can see, in the blue suit. Crispin Zerka in the 18 car, just taking up his second place behind Annalene Boutons. So Crispin Zerka there in second place. Annalene sort of waving back at him, obviously having some kind of chat. Here's Anwar Barul-Smith, he's taking up third place. Anwar Barul-Smith third. Lewis Manley there in fourth. He's scored really well all weekend, won the local experts, could well be the champion of the local championship here at this track. Ruben Boutons behind him, and then Ed White, Brad Philpott, Russell Endine. And then it's Michael Weddle, second to last, and Ted Monfils is in the last place there. So Ted Monfils on the tail. So we're getting ready now for the start of the final. The British Rental Car Championship will be decided on this race. This is what it's all about. This is what we've been here for all weekend. 10 competitors in, 50 people have been eliminated. These are the top 10 of the whole weekend. So Annalene Boutons brings the field around. There's only half a lap now between Annalene Boutons and the start of the race. She's controlling the pace well. It's going to be going green on this lap, surely. So Annalene Boutons picks up the pace, and we've gone green. Annalene Boutons is in the lead and away, chased by Crispin Zerka, and behind that Anwar Barul-Smith, with Lewis Manley behind Barul-Smith, and we're very close going through the Snell section. Nothing to choose on between these drivers. They're all very, very close, all matched on talent. It's all a question of dealing with the situation. So Annalene Boutons down the back stretch. There she is, being chased by Crispin Zerka, and behind that is Anwar Barul-Smith. Annalene Boutons runs wide. Crispin Zerka has a chance, but he cannot do anything with it. Anwar Barul-Smith has got Lewis Manley all over the back of him. So here comes Annalene Boutons in towards the camera with a fraction of a cart length lead over Crispin Zerka. The field pass through. We're looking at Ted Monfils on the camera there, bringing up the rear. Annalene Boutons still in the lead. Crispin Zerka, Anwar Barul-Smith, and the rest of the field piles on through. Still Ted Monfils bringing up the tail there. Field coming through on the camera screen here with Annalene Boutons now on the backstretch. There's Annalene Boutons in the lead. Crispin Zerka looking defensive already against Anwar Barul-Smith, and a move up the inside, is it? No. Lewis Manley defending heavily against Ruben Boutons. Ruben Boutons running fifth, and we're looking now at Ed White trying to work on Ruben Boutons in turn. A little bit of a gap there, and looking behind, that's Brad Philpott. Brad Philpott is running seventh there in our picture. So here's Annalene Boutons with a cart length lead, and Crispin Zerka is really having to deal with Anwar Barul-Smith. Anwar Barul-Smith now is looking at taking second place off Crispin Zerka. Ted Monfils now dropping a little bit at the tail. So Annalene Boutons with an even bigger lead, with Crispin Zerka running second and Anwar Barul-Smith third. Lewis Manley is really building up there. Crispin Zerka seems to be backing him up a little bit as Annalene Boutons raced off into the lead. She's got a bigger lead than we've seen so far. There's Ted Monfils on our picture. He's falling away a little bit at the tail. He's got a cart length between him and Michael Weddle, who's in front. So into the Snail section. There's Annalene Boutons on our picture. Oh, and a move on the inside. Anwar Barul-Smith and Zerka, and they've hit the wall. Oh my goodness me! We're looking at Annalene Boutons on the screen, but it's Crispin Zerka still side by side with Anwar Barul-Smith at the end of the backstretch. Oh, and Anwar's being forced out wide. Lewis Manley is taking the position, and they're all filtering through past Anwar Barul-Smith. Anwar Barul-Smith being freight trained. Anwar Barul-Smith trying to struggle to stay ahead of Ed White, and Brad Philpott comes through past Ed White, but Ed White's going to get it back on the inside, and it's all action here, and into the pits already. Oh no, we've got two cars in the pits at the same time. There's Russell Endine we're looking at, but Michael Weddle has pitted behind him. Russell Endine trying to get out of the action by pitting, but unfortunately for Michael Weddle, he's coming right behind Russell Endine. That was a strategic error by Michael Weddle there. He needed to make up some distance, but all the fighting behind her has given a massive lead to Annalene Boutons. So we're looking on screen at that lead group. There's Brad Philpott with Ted Monfils right behind him. So Annalene Boutons away in the lead. We're looking at that battle behind as Crispin Zerka leading the way from Lewis Manley. So there's Michael Weddle. There's Annalene Boutons now on screen. We've got more carts in the pits. We've got Anwar Barul-Smith and Brad Philpott, and we've got some strategic nightmares going on in the pit lane. Like I was saying, it's not a question of how well they can drive, it's how well people can handle the pressure. And we've seen a few double-digit handicaps going on in the pit lane there. So Annalene Boutons streaks away in the lead. It's Crispin Zerka second. Full attention there of Lewis Manley. We're looking at the back stretch on the screen. And here's the snail section. Here's Annalene Boutons into the snail section. Now we'll see what kind of a lead she's got. So there's Annalene through, and this is the kind of lead. Here's second place. Lewis Manley has moved on. No, Lewis Manley has not moved on. I think Crispin Zerka's been in the pits. Crispin Zerka has pitted. So Annalene Bouton has got a bigger lead now over Lewis Manley. Over 3 seconds, nearly 4. There's Annalene Bouton in the lead. Look at the smooth style of Annalene Bouton as she negotiates that long right. And behind her, there's, well, several more. Here we're looking at cars coming through. That's Lewis Manley in second place, being chased by Ruben Boutons. There's Ted Monfils. He's moving up the order. The others are pitted, so Annalene Boutons making her way around. That's your race leader on screen now. So Annalene Boutons, the race leader, heading out now towards the backstretch. We're going to see her in a moment. There she is. That's Annalene Boutons coming towards us on the back straight. Annalene Boutons, and there's Lewis Manley, second place. Ruben Boutons, the brother of Annalene, in third place, with Ed White fourth. And already we're looking at some pretty quick times there. All in the 33 seconds though. Surely we're going to see some in the 32. Anwar Barul Smith, Russell Endine and Brad Philpott. And there's Michael Weddle bringing up the rear. Annalene Boutons continuing on her way. She's building up a bigger lead. Here's Brad Philpott. Right, so Annalene Bouton turns in at the end of the straight. Here's Lewis Manley, Ruben Boutons, and this is Ed White with a bit of a gap that he's got to narrow down to get on terms with Ruben Boutons. We're looking at Ruben Boutons on the screen. He's working hard on the back of Lewis Manley there. There's Ed White. And Ted Monfils flicked over to the back part of the track, and here's Michael Weddle bringing up the tail there. But remember, he has been in the pits, and most of the leaders have not yet, so we'll see how that shakes down. Michael Weddle, of course, got a bit caught out in the pits. He pitted behind Russell Endine, and maybe a bit of a strategy problem there for Michael Weddle. There's Lewis Manley second, Ruben Boutons third, Ed White, and here comes Ted Monfils. Ted Monfils was running at the back, but that doesn't mean he's slow. He's very quick indeed. There's Lewis Manley holding off Ruben Boutons for second place. Flicking over the back part of the screen now, there's Brad Philpott coming into view now with Michael Weddle on the tail. Russell Endine there working on Anwar Barul Smith. They're down battling for 7th place at the moment. Both drivers have indeed pitted. Okay, so this looks like Annalene Boutons. Now this is the race leader now. She's not yet pitted, and chasing her down, that's Lewis Manley and her brother Ruben Boutons. They've got that kind, we can see the kind of gap they've got. We'll be seeing Annalene come into position now. So there's Annalene Boutons, and then there's a gap until Lewis Manley and Ruben Boutons, and here's Ed White. Now, question is Ed White closing in on the two in front of him? Ed White needs to get in contention here because he is also yet to make a pit stop in front of them, but catching them is going to be important, so he's in a position to do exactly that. Ted Monfils is desperately trying to hang on there. He's keeping Ed White in view on the long straight. There's Anwar Barul Smith, and here's Brad Philpott and Michael Weddle bringing up the tail. And we'll be looking now at Ted Monfils. That's Ted Monfils, and that's the battling pair. It's still Lewis Manley leading from second place, but ahead of Ruben Boutons. So Annalene Boutons just gone out of shot. There's Lewis Manley. There's mid-battle here, and Brad Philpott cannot quite get on terms with the guys he's chasing down. That's Russell Endine and Anwar Barul Smith, of course, that Brad Philpott's chasing down. There's Ted Monfils coming through in 5th place. And next up should be Crispin Zerka. There's Crispin Zerka. Crispin Zerka has pitted. He's in 6th at the moment, but we saw him pit out of 2nd place. So we'll see if that strategy, an early pit stop, will work for him. Annalene Boutons, her strategy is to stay out a little bit longer because she's still leading. And we're looking now at the battle. And Ruben Boutons, a great move inside, right on our camera there. There's Ruben Boutons. He's moved up into 2nd place on the road. Ruben Boutons here in the blue suit is 2nd place now, moving up ahead of Lewis Manley. And then, of course, it's Ed White and Ted Monfils there. So what a move there by Ruben Boutons. That was a great lunge. It's not easy to overtake the end of the straight, simply because there is a kink before the hairpin itself. That kink before the hairpin itself is quite difficult because the carts are already turned in before they get to the tight point of the hairpin, which is where you'd want to make your lunge. So a good move there by Ruben Boutons. Obviously set himself up carried on the previous corner, carried a lot of momentum down the straight and was able to take the lunge at Lewis Manley. Already he's edging slightly ahead. There's a cart length ahead of him, and quite a sharp turn in there by Crispin Zerka. Really backing the cart in, quite a sharp turn, sliding the cart into the hairpin. Anwar Barul-Smith is now starting to edge away a little bit from Russell Endine, as we can see on the picture there. Brad Philpott following, with Michael Weddle bringing up the rear in 10th place. Annalene Boutons there. Look at the smooth style of Annalene Boutons. She's got a 3.5 second lead now. She's trying to increase it. She would like, if possible, to be as far ahead when she makes her pit stop, so she might even be able to cycle out of the pit stop in the lead. So there's Annalene Boutons, and she's making her way forward, pulling forward all the time. She's not the fastest on the track, but she's only a 10th away from the fastest lap time, so it's pretty much equaling out for her. Onto the back straight, we're looking at Annalene Boutons leading the race, with Ruben Bouton, her brother, now trying desperately to close in. Hot pursuit as he can of his sister Annalene, who's leading the race. Brad Philpott goes through, he's the series organizer. He's pulling away from Michael Weddle, who's in last place at the moment, 10th. So Russell Endine, who we're watching complete another lap, and that's Anwar Barul-Smith. Closing in on Russell Endine. Second place battle then. Yeah. And up at the front there, Ed White. Maybe Ed White is closing in slightly. His lap times don't suggest that, but we're looking. The Ruben Boutons is actually closing in on his sister, because the lap times, he's faster by 2 tenths of a second. In fact, 2.5 tenths of a second on that previous lap. So inch by inch, Ruben Boutons is closing in on his sister Annalene, who is the race leader. We've had no pit stops for a little while lately, so we'll see if who's going to come in mid-race. There's still 18 minutes left on this final. Long race, this one. There's Ted Monfils making his way around the corner there. And we're following Ted Monfils for this part of the lap. He's on the end of the long straight there. See how he turns in, super smooth. Crispin Zerka, we've seen him flick it in. Look at the different styles, but we've gone away from the camera there. So here comes Crispin Zerka. There's Crispin Zerka now in the blue suit. He's currently 6th. He pitted out of 2nd, remember, so keep an eye on him. Those watching trackside, we want to keep an eye on the 6th place Crispin Zerka, because remember, he came out of 2nd place to make the pit stop, and that took him out of our mindset, so to speak, so we're not really focusing on him. But Annalene Boutons, I think, is definitely being closed in on by brother Ruben. Ruben Boutons is making it a Dutch 1-2 and definitely trying to make a race of this. There's Annalene Boutons, see if the gap's a little bit closer. There's Ruben. Yes, I think this is visibly coming down now. Ruben Boutons is but Annalene has put in a quick one there. Her best lap compared to brothers is only 1 tenth of a second. Here's Annalene, and there's Ruben Boutons. I'm sure that gap is coming down now, with Lewis Manley trying to hang on and use Ruben Bouton to pull him closer to the leader. Annalene Boutons round the final turn there, and here's brother Ruben. So I think that gap is definitely coming down. So with Lewis Manley in tow, and definitely with Ed White there in 4th, he's not being left. We've seen blinding speed from Ed White, and he's going to need all that speed now. There's Annalene Boutons. She is the race leader, leaning out of the corner in that typical European style to just break some grip from that inside wheel so it doesn't cause the cart to understeer. We'll see her turn in smoothly at the end of the straight. There's Annalene Boutons turning in now through the long left, trying to keep it smooth, trying to keep it tight. And around the final turn, and here's Ruben Bouton. He is definitely closing in on his sister now. Trying to make a race of it. There's definitely that gap is coming down. Here's Annalene Boutons on the screen. Oh, we've gone away to Michael Weddle. We should see Annalene Boutons any moment. Yes, there she is, and here's Ruben Boutons with Lewis Manley staying there with Ruben. So Annalene Boutons on the back straight, and here comes brother Ruben in the blue suit. Lewis Manley trying to stay with him too, and here's Ed White, not being left behind either. He's in 4th place. And Ted Monfils is running 5th currently. There's Annalene Bouton. Ruben Bouton, surely that gap is coming down now. Ruben Bouton inching up on sister Annalene. There's Crispin Zerka, still running 6th, with Anwar Barul Smith in 7th, and 8th there is Russell Endine, with 9th Brad Philpott. Brad Philpott currently running 9th. And there's the 10th place driver, Michael Weddle. But here's Annalene Boutons, the race leader, with Ruben Boutons in pursuit. There's Ed White in the white helmet. So we're looking for Annalene Boutons, seeing if that gap has changed. Yeah, Ruben Bouton definitely closing on his sister now. They're all running quick, but Ruben Boutons is 0.2 of a second up on his sister on that lap. In fact, 0.4 of a second up on that lap we've just clocked in. So definitely closing in. Yes, visibly that gap is coming down. Ruben Boutons is going to make a race of this for the win. Ruben Bouton's closing on his sister, but on a track like this, closing is one thing, passing is another. Here comes Michael Weddle, and now we've got the race leader, but we're looking at Michael Weddle, who's running last, 10th. And Michael Weddle, he's not going slowly, even though he's in 10th place. He's carrying great speed himself. Annalene Bouton, brother Ruben, definitely closing in. Lewis Manley actually managing to pretty much stay in contact with Ruben Bouton. And that's going to put him in contact with the race leader. Annalene Bouton, that leader's visibly shot down now. Her brother is after her, and he means business. We're coming onto the back straight. There's Michael Weddle. He's the last place car. So look next is Annalene Boutons. There she is, with Ruben Bouton really closing in now. And Lewis Manley is being left behind a little bit by Ruben Boutons, but he's actually getting drawn up onto Annalene. They're all catching up with Annalene Boutons right now, as Ruben is now as close to his sister as Lewis Manley is to him. So Ruben Boutons has worked very hard since that gutsy move to pass Lewis Manley, who is now behind him for 2nd place, and is now closing in. He's bridging the gap to his sister. So there's Michael Weddle, but look behind for Annalene Boutons. There she is, and there's Ruben Boutons. He's really closing in now. Hot pursuit of his sister. There they are in the same shot. There's Annalene ahead, and now we're looking at Ruben Boutons on the screen. Ruben Boutons right with sister Annalene. He's going to have to get onto a bumper. Oh, and in the pits, the 3rd place driver pits. That's Lewis Manley. This is crucial. He needs to make a good stop here so he's not lost behind Ed White. When the pit stop cycle through, he will tumble down the order initially, but we'll see where he ends up. Okay, so let's return our attention to the front of this particular race. There's Lewis Manley coming through, and Ted Monfils. He's coming out ahead of Ted Monfils. And there's Crispin Zerka. So, and Anwar Barul Smith. So Lewis Manley has resumed the race in 4th place after his pit stop, and that's going to be pretty helpful to him. He's only lost 1 place despite making a pit stop. Those in front of him have not pitted. So let's see if we can catch up with the leaders. I can see out of the side here that we've got Ruben Boutons on his sister's tail. Ruben Boutons has caught right with sister, and the pair of them are closing in on Michael Weddle, the back marker. So onto the back straight. There's Michael Weddle, and there's Annalene Boutons with Ruben Bouton right on her tail. He's now right behind her, less than a cart length in it. So Annalene Boutons with the red on her helmet in the lead there. Ruben Boutons in the blue suit is following her. So Michael Weddle, and then it's Annalene Boutons and Ruben Boutons in the same camera shot within a cart length. Onto the snails section. So here's Annalene Boutons. There's the 2nd place, Ruben Bouton, her brother. So a real family affair for the Bouton family of Holland, and then Michael Weddle lets them through. Michael Weddle sees the leaders coming through. So Annalene Boutons on the back straight. Ruben Boutons down behind her. They pass the back marker as one. Very close now, very close. Is Ruben going to actually have a shot at his sister now, or is he going to wait for after the pit stops? Both of them are very quick indeed. They're pulling away from the man in 3rd place, who is Ed White. Ed White running 3rd. Lewis Manley still 4th, with Ted Monfils 5th. Okay, so there's Annalene Boutons on our screen. Ruben Bouton closing it down. Look at the outward style, leaning outwards of the European drivers there. So Annalene Bouton's on the back stretch. Can Ruben do anything at the end of the straight? We saw him pass Lewis Manley down there to take second place earlier on. Ed White turning in pretty sharp. That's his aggressive style as we've seen before. So, Annalene Boutons leading the final of the British Rental Kart Championship. Interestingly, they're going to get paid in pounds, but they're going to want euros. Annalene Boutons and brother Ruben running really wide. Ruben Boutons, will he choose to sit behind his sister and wait for the pit stops and deal with her later, or is he planning on making a move now? They're neck and neck. Annalene getting a bit defensive. Oh, Ruben to the side. Ruben Boutons makes the move, and Ruben Boutons takes the lead from sister Annalene. That's the first time we've seen Annalene Boutons lose the lead in this race. Ruben Boutons, the new race leader, with a massive lunge down at the end of the backstretch there. We're going to see, is he still the lead as we come back into view on the camera into the start section? Yes, he is. It's Ruben Boutons from Annalene Boutons, but Annalene Boutons is sticking on his tail. If anybody knows each other well in this race, it's going to be the two Boutons brothers and sister. So, Ted Monfils in the pits. Ted Monfils stops a little bit early in the box, but not to worry, the stop is good. He resumes in 9th place, and here's Ruben Boutons and sister Annalene. Now, neither of them have elected to stop. They're carrying on this race right till the very end. It's only 10 minutes remaining now in the British Rental Kart Championship final. This is what we're all here for, the British Rental Kart Championship final. At the moment, it's going the way of the Dutch, the brother and sister team. Ruben and Annalene Boutons. Here they are on the backstretch. Now, can Annalene do to her brother what he did to her? No, she's too far back. Ruben Boutons is attempting to pull away from his sister Annalene. He's trying to break her challenge before the round of pit stops. These drivers, neither of whom have been in the pits yet, but both of them are used to this sort of racing. Sprint race with a pit stop thrown in. Round they go, and maybe a kart length now developing. Ruben Boutons is doing his level best. Remember, Annalene Boutons is a very fast driver. She put that kart on pole position. Ruben Boutons is gradually inching away, though. Over the long stretch, he's proving to have a slight advantage over his sister because he's pulling away. Annalene showed great speed over the single lap, but Ruben Boutons is trying to prove he has the greater speed over the race distance. And he's doing that by leading this British Championship final. Ed White, of course, still runs in 3rd position. Lewis Manley is in 4th. Crispin Zerka has moved up to 5th, with Anwar Barul-Smith and Russell Endine, followed by Brad Philpott, Ted Monfils, and Michael Weddle running in 10th. There's Brad Philpott, there's Ted Monfils, they're in 8th and 9th, and now the lead is Ruben Boutons. He's extending his lead over his sister Annalene. Surely the British Championship may well go to Ruben Boutons. It's definitely going to Holland, I'm certain of that one. But the question is, which of the Boutons, brother and sister pair? It's looking good now for Ruben Boutons. He's extending his lead over his sister Annalene. Ruben Boutons coming alive over the long stretch, this full race here, and a battle going on between Crispin Zerka and Anwar Barul-Smith. Oh, Anwar Barul-Smith tap in the rear bumper of Crispin Zerka. Both these drivers have pitted. This is a race for position, and it's a race for 5th at the moment. So Anwar Barul-Smith there, really working hard on the back of Crispin Zerka. Right, down the back stretch, we've gone back to Annalene Boutons, who's really dropping away from brother Ruben. We're looking at Annalene, but Ruben's up ahead and he's pulling away. And Anwar Barul-Smith out of camera shot is all over the back of Crispin Zerka. Here comes Ed White in 3rd. There's Anwar Barul-Smith. He's all over the back of Crispin Zerka. There's Crispin Zerka. A little bit of a gap there, a bit of a lunge maybe at the end of the straight has opened up a gap for Crispin Zerka. Crispin Zerka, one of the top local racers here. He's turning in ahead of Anwar Barul-Smith in the camera shot. Anwar Barul-Smith has closed the gap again. Anwar Barul-Smith right behind the blue-suited Crispin Zerka. Anwar Barul-Smith looking to take 5th from Zerka as they round the top corner there onto the backstretch. Here they come. Crispin Zerka defensive to the inside, but Anwar Barul-Smith is just holding station. He's not going to try and pass Zerka, the 5th place driver there, but he's right on his tail as they enter the final turn. That's Crispin Zerka in 5th in front of him. Anwar Barul-Smith riding his tail. Here comes Ruben Boutons now to the end of the backstretch, and Annalene Boutons with Ed White still in the picture in 3rd. Ed White still in the picture in 3rd. Does Ruben Boutons pit? No, nor did his sister Annalene. Does Ed White pit? There's Ed White we're looking at. Is he going to pit? No, he's not. He's running in 3rd and carrying on. 4th place, Lewis Manley is some way out of view, but look at Crispin Zerka. He's holding the mid-line through the backstretch there, trying to hold off Anwar Barul-Smith. Anwar Barul-Smith taking the more natural line to the outside. Anwar Barul-Smith really working hard on the back bumper there of Crispin Zerka. Here comes Brad Philpott we're looking at, chasing down Russell Endine. and that's Ted Monfils, and here comes Ruben Boutons, the race leader. Does he pit? No. His sister doesn't either. That's Annalene Boutons there moving away, and we're back with the Zerka and Anwar Barul-Smith battle. Here they are down the back straight. Now, will Zerka go to the middle lane? Yes, he does. He takes the middle lane to block Anwar Barul-Smith out from the inside. Maintains position, but that allows Barul-Smith to take a better line and close in through the long right-hander towards the final turn. Again, holding a middle lane there. That's Zerka. Back with the Boutons brother and sister, and there's Ed White. Now, it's interesting this because none of the top three have pitted yet, and it's going to be a little bit of cat and mouse as to who does. My money's on Ed White actually to pit first. I think the Boutons brother and sister team are going to hold out as long as they can, trying to pull out as much of a gap as possible before pitting and blending, hopefully, into clean air instead of into traffic. There are ways of figuring this out when you're driving around the track. You can see who is where on the track by looking across the course, and over the races you get to figure out where you, if you're going to make a pit stop, where you're going to be, so how far back. So you look across the track, you know what that distance is going to be. Anwar Barul-Smith tapping his head as if to say something about Crispin Zerka there. He's obviously not pleased, but yeah, Annalene Boutons and Ruben Boutons intelligent enough to be able to look across the track and figure out who is going to be where when they come out of the pit. So they'll be looking to pit when what they can see is where they know they're going to come out is a clear piece of air. They do not want to be mired amongst back markers and lose any advantage to each other. Ruben Boutons, he is really extending his lead now over his sister, but it's still a close deal. Ruben Boutons and his sister Annalene, they're the only drivers into 32 seconds now. The pace is really running hot. 32.7 from Ruben Boutons. That's an incredibly fast time. He really means business, but so did sister Annalene. She's the only other driver that did. But now we've got Lewis Manley in fourth place into 32 seconds. This incredible speed shown by these races in the British Rental Car Championship final. Absolutely stunning to watch. This is as good as it gets when it comes to a car, but Ruben Boutons, the race leader, comes into the pits. This is crucial. It's going to make or break the race. He takes the first stop. We see him in the pit lane now on screen. He's rolling forward. This was the race leader. He gives the lead back to his sister Annalene. Okay, he comes out of the pits. Is he going to come out in clean air? Yes, he does. He's timed it to perfection. He's come out in third place. Ed White and his sister Annalene have moved up ahead of him to take the lead and second place. Lewis Manley is in fourth, and Ruben Boutons has managed to come out sufficiently far ahead of Lewis Manley to not give Manley any ideas about challenging him for that third. Okay, so we've seen Ruben pit. Annalene, his sister, will have seen that her brother's gone into the pits. She's now assumed the lead. She's coming up to Ted Monfils. Now, Annalene's question was going to be, do I try and tackle Monfils and put him a lap down, risking losing time? Or do I take my pit stop now and use the pit stop to not have to fight way through Ted Monfils? So we're looking out now onto the backstretch. Here comes Ted Monfils onto the backstretch. There he is in black. There's Annalene Boutons behind. So that will be Annalene's choice. I think Annalene's going to pit very soon. I don't think she's going to want to hang behind Monfils. She's right with Monfils now. I can see out the corner of the screen. There they go. I'm expecting Annalene in. Yes, she does. She pits, so she doesn't have to fight her way through. She's on the first stop. Oh, it's a poor pit stop by Annalene Boutons. She started and stopped again. Not close enough. And now she stops again. Will she cycle out behind brother? Yes, she is. She's lost the lead to brother. But she's now got to defend third place against Lewis Manley. She comes out in second, but Lewis Manley is in hot pursuit. He can sense that second place. So there's Annalene Boutons. There's Lewis Manley in the red suit on screen. Michael Weddle, of course, is running 10th, a lap down. But Lewis Manley, he's going to have to try and close in on Annalene Boutons. He's going to have to pass from merit. He cannot rely on pit stops. There's Ruben Boutons on screen, the leader. Here's the second place, Annalene Boutons. And there's third, Lewis Manley. And behind them was Michael Weddle, who's running 10th. There's Lewis Manley now. He's got a lot to do to deal with Annalene Boutons. So on screen now, Annalene Boutons comes past us. Then Lewis Manley, that's how close it is for second and third. In fact, sorry, third and fourth, I'm wrong. Ed White has yet to pit, so he has assumed the lead. Ruben Boutons is in second, but obviously has pitted. So is Annalene Boutons, so is Lewis Manley. So really, they're a moral first, second and third. But Ed White is currently leading. Ed White is currently leading because he has not yet stopped. They've only got two minutes or so remaining, so Ed White is leaving this very late. He has not yet pitted. I can see out of the corner of the screen there. There's Ed White crossing the line. And Ed White has not yet pitted. Very interesting strategy by Ed White. He's going to have to pit soon. He cannot run out of time. Crispin Zerka on screen now with Anwar Barul-Smith. They're side by side down the backstretch. And they're battling over fifth place. Anwar Barul-Smith is really working hard, but we're looking at Russell Endine and Brad Philpott. Brad Philpott has now caught up with Russell Endine and is fighting away with him. Now, Ed White's coming close to the pit entrance. Will he pit? Will he pit? Yes, he pits. The leader is into the pits now. Okay, so Ruben Bouton is going to take the lead. Ruben Bouton's past the pit area. He's taking the lead. Ed White's taking his first stop. We can't see it on camera, but Ed White's on his second stop. Ed White has lost second. He's lost third. He's resuming in fourth. So while the camera looks at the action with Crispin Zerka and Anwar Brawl-Smith, our race leader has pitted and resumed fourth. So the leader now is Ruben Bouton from sister Annalene Bouton, as you watch on screen Russell Endine and Brad Philpott. So Ruben Bouton leads from Annalene Bouton's. Lewis Manley is third, and Ed White has come out to the pits in fourth. There's Ed White on screen now, turning into the hairpin. That's Michael Weddle running in 10th. So see where the camera is showing us. Yes, it's back to the battle of Crispin Zerka and Anwar Brawl-Smith. Brad Philpott has now moved ahead of Russell Endine, out of camera shot. Brad Philpott has taken the position from Russell Endine. That puts Brad Philpott up to 7th from 8th. There he is, formidable competitor, a works driver with the Peugeot endurance team in car racing, starring in the Nürburgring 24 Hours last year. And Brad Philpott has moved himself up to 7th place. So very little time left now, very little time indeed, and we're into towards the last minute now. It is Ruben Bouton with the lead as we watch Brad Philpott gradually edging away from Russell Endine now. So we'll be looking for the checker flag very soon. There's Anwar Brawl-Smith still working on Crispin Zerka. He's running out of time. Brad Philpott ahead of Russell Endine now, and we're looking down the end of the backstretch there. That is Ruben Bouton's, and Ruben Bouton has less than a lap to go now. They're bringing the checker flag out. It's going to be Ruben Bouton's from Holland. Ruben Bouton is a new British rental kart champion. What a race. Annalene Bouton's is going to come second in the British Rental Kart Championship. Lewis Manley an incredible third, and Ed White fourth in the British Rental Kart Championship for 2014. So Ruben Bouton's from Holland is the new British champion. He congratulates it and she congratulates him back. It's a 1-2 for the Bouton's family pairing. What an incredible result there. And incredible for Lewis Manley as well. Okay, so first of all, we have a special prize for the fastest lap. And guess who that goes to? That goes to Ruben Bouton's. Ruben, you've got a nice little clock there to remind you what it takes to find speed. So Ruben Bouton's, well done on the fastest lap of the event. Superb effort. Thank you very much. So Ruben Bouton's fastest lap. Okay, so now we're going to go to the podium presentation, and we're looking for the third place driver, which of course was one of the local drivers. A spectacular performance. Let's hear it for Lewis Manley. Lewis Manley takes third. Take your trophy, Lewis. Hold it up and show everyone what you've won. Lewis Manley also wins a free entry to the Kart World Championship, which this year is in Brazil. So Lewis Manley, what a result by him. Okay, we're moving to second now. We saw her on pole position. We saw her battle with her brother. It's Annalene Boutens. Annalene Boutens also wins the trophy for second and a free entry to the Kart World Championship. And winning not only the final race and the winner's trophy, but also winning a free entry to the Kart World Championship and £600 in cash. It is Ruben Boutens. Fantastic result by him. Ruben Boutens taking the win there in the final. A fully deserved result. And we're going to be getting some pictures and some footage with the 3 podium finishers. A fantastic result all round. Some great racing in the final, particularly from Ruben Boutens, who managed to catch and pass not only Lewis Manley, but move in on his sister as well. And he caught and passed her for the victory there. And a brave run by him and a great result all round. So thank you very much, everybody. The champagne's going to be sprayed. Thanks very much. See you all next year.